Hello, and welcome for me anyway to week 6 of the summer series. I'm back. I'm now over 40, which is fantastic. And it's great to be back. 1 week to go. This is the 27th session of the summer series. Every day for the past 6 weeks. 1 week today will be into week 7, into 30 plus sessions, and a few hours we'll be announcing the Inspiring Workplace Award winners in North America and EMEA for 2021. So really looking forward to the next 7 days. And today we've got another new style for our session. I'm really looking forward to it. I hope I do our guest justice with my interviewing technique, but we're going to jump straight into it. And today's session's all around Beyond Pay and how JISC, their innovative approach to employee reward, recognition and well-being created a powerful employee value proposition. So a case study through interview by me. I really want to introduce to you Rachel Alves, Head of Reward at JISC. Hello.
Hello, how are you doing? Thank you, it's good to be here.
Great to have you. How are you doing? How's your week going? How's summer?
Summer, we children and primary school children in isolation, so we're doing the balancing family-friendly pandemic in action at the moment. But yeah, all good, thank you.
It's so strange still, as you hear these news announcements and it feels like it's all becoming normal, but then the reality isn't that normal still, with children isolating and, No,
and joining a new employer still at my kitchen table for the last year, so.
Fantastic, best desk ever. So look, we'd love to know more about JISC as an organisation and what you do there as well.
Okay, so I've actually joined JISC a year ago now, so as the head of reward. So JISC, so we are a membership organisation, so a not-for-profit organisation that provides infrastructure and digital solutions for access and research for the education sector, so particularly higher and further education. So we negotiate on behalf of the sector to save money. We advise on digital technology and transformation, and we also want to sort of transform sort of the learning and the student experience as well. So we, as I say, not for profit, but we exist for the good of our members and customers.
Have you been impacted by the past year as an organisation?
Absolutely, yeah. And I mean, again, sort of around 900 employees. So 4 main offices sort of across the UK, but a lot of our employees are out kind of visiting customers on site. And obviously with the sort of help our customers with the lockdown, one of the key things that we had to do was the colleges, universities and all our member institutions, how we could get them online, kind of provide the support, the technology to sort of obviously transform kind of learning online, really. So it was quite a whirlwind of sort of customers first, but also again, how do we support our employees to help support our members and customers? So putting everyone at the heart of what we do.
And that was happening in tandem. You had the customers, you had to help, and you had to obviously focus on your people too. So that must have been challenging. And then you joined during this in May. And what have you been doing before then? Working in reward for many years, or?
Yeah, so I've done a number of reward roles across sort of the sector. So most recently in a sort of a medium-sized, also not-for-profit, and have worked in financial services, kind of healthcare, and sort of airport group as well. So mainly reward sort of HR partner roles across a range of industries, sort of mainly in the northwest, but generally with a national footprint. So I think it's really interesting seeing kind of the different experiences, particularly from reward, benefits and engagement focus, different sort of lens in the different industries. So it was a challenge. I won't deny it was a challenge to sort of join. I'm still meeting colleagues. But again, it provides opportunities, different in the pandemic, to think differently, work differently, how we can kind of support our people. So it was a challenge that, I suppose a lot of organisations were facing, but one particularly with JISC, where obviously as a diverse or, disparate organisation across the UK, that we sort of putting our members and customers first. As well. So
you talk about disparate across the UK. Are you able to tell us more about the demographic and how that has presented challenges, will present challenges moving forward?
Yeah, so I think sort of we're approximately kind of 900 employees,
Yeah.
colleagues. As I say, we operate out of 4 main offices across the UK, but obviously employees sort of right across the UK and a lot out visiting our customers. So I'd probably say quite a high proportion of sort of obviously technical roles. But we're a really sort of diverse organisation. So we've sort of come organically grown really out of the kind of academic sector. But we've also obviously merged and acquired, we've had some quite rapid growth over the last 5 years. So, we would sort of present some of the challenges there in terms of kind of pockets of culture. And equally, because obviously we are, predominantly grown through an academic institution, actually we're sort of a technology company as well. So we're not traditionally an academic company, but equally, obviously, we're doing quite a lot of tech and innovation, and where obviously we would attract our people from as well. So, and I think probably in terms of the employee demographic, probably one of the biggest challenges that we've got is sort of the one JISC culture and the challenges behind, how do we bring JISC as an organisation together? How do we kind of engage all our employees, having come from very different sort of backgrounds, very sort of diverse kind of length of service and previous experience as well. So I think I'd probably say that kind of that one JISC culture was one of our challenges that we've taken on, and particularly obviously through the pandemic, adding that as well.
And that's because from one lens, academics, and another lens, there are tech entrepreneurials, people who are trying to constant change rather than the academia is a little bit different to technology companies, I suppose. Having those two kind of personality groups within an organisation presents cultural challenges, I suppose.
Yeah, and I think even around the work types, sort of some very structured, very process, and you think in the technology world, very agile, kind of innovative. But actually, some of the technology that we work with, whilst we're not for profit, is kind of sector leading, technology leading. So it's well some of the things that we do. So actually, we're wanting to be the best at what we do, and obviously attract and retain the right people.
Definitely want to revisit the one JISC culture, and you might mention it in the next question. But helping people feel connected, especially throughout the pandemic, is crucial to engagement, building trust, well-being. What are some of the challenges you've faced in being connected to your people, making sure they're looking after their well-being, and how have you overcome those challenges?
Yeah, and I mean, I suppose the being UK wide and the pandemic restrictions that's kind of affected everybody has been probably one of the biggest challenges. And I think right from the beginning, we're thinking about putting employee well-being and our employee support a key focus. So you first, speaking as joining an organisation when you've got small children at home, and how you're going to be accepted to a new job and learn, and actually right from the beginning of day one, actually it's in the action, the activities that you can feel supported. So some of the things that we did, obviously mobilising the entire organisation to work from home while supporting customers. So that was making sure people had the right technology, the right kit, things were kind of shipped out to them, what kind of addition, where people had additional needs, what did they need. We were doing sort of daily coronavirus briefings, sort of the deputy CEO, which was a blend of sort of updating on kind of the practicalities of the office, where to get advice and support, regular update on kind of the rules that was happening, and where we could kind of utilise technology and communications. So we would have weekly sort of what we call all hands calls with the executive team to kind of understand sort of business priorities and update, but also an opportunity for colleagues to ask questions, to kind of sort of create a community as well. And actually ongoing, that's enabled us to have spotlight on certain projects, certain areas of the business, so that actually as part of building the culture and engagement, people in different directorates can understand, start to learn and understand how parts of the organisation work together.
And sorry. I was going to say, I remember when we chatted briefly before that you mentioned the you first, family first as an EVP, and that really struck me that because I've never heard that, and I've from any organisation that they would have something you first, family first. And I was wondering whether you're able to delve a bit more into that and what that means.
Yeah, and I think really, you know, right from our kind of early messages were, you know, we understand everybody has challenging situations at home. You know, we understand productivity may drop. You know, you do what you need to do to put your sort of health, your family's well-being first. You know, talk to your manager. We can adapt working hours. We can that it's, you know, encouraging having those conversations. Speak to your managers that it's okay. So there was the understanding of that. We've also obviously. So we've set up sort of a homeschool resources page. So everything that we knew, you know, we could put things to links like Joe Wicks, BBC Bite Size, where, for example, people had knowledge from, you know, parent groups. We sort of created on the recognition platform a homeschool tile that we could put all the resources, you know, sharing knowledge, things like obviously our employee well-being. So where we could, for example, introduce benefits, so like salary finance with finance information, where we needed to sort of do hardship loans, we've done that. But we've also kind of created sort of like social activities, made use of sort of community groups, Yammer groups. So we've had things like yoga, parents cafes. We sort of mobilised manager training in terms of wellbeing support for their teams. We championed our mental health first aiders. So, and obviously, and again, as part of the briefings that we would have links to the EAP programme, who our mental health first aiders are, sort of signposting resources. So it's really been a combination of kind of using the communications, creating sort of the culture in the communities, as well as sort of the all hands call, and using sort of our benefits and our platforms as well to sort of bring it together. And I think it's been that bringing it to life, reminding people, spotlight on things. So it's kind of been, you know, it's been a combination of the above, partly to support Corona. You know, given our ethos has always been kind of well-being, I think the pandemic highlighted, and some of the additional, you know, the additional things that we've done. But we've had, you know, it's fine to have children on call. We've had pets. We've met house plants. You know, it's almost been creating that it's okay that. And sort of the encouragement with sort of the wellbeing support behind it. You know, we don't always get everything. You know, we don't always get everything right, but actually, we have employee voice forum. We kind of encourage people to use the chat function in kind of the all hands call to ask questions to create the two-way communication as well.
Well, so much. So congratulations on working so hard for your people. But I think when the thing that jumped out to me at the beginning was around the EVP, it was permission. You're giving people permission to ask and communicate around issues they might feel uneasy communicating around, whether it be, I need to look after my children, I need to do the school run, because that it's very easy to gloss over certain things like that, because there's still a lot of organizations out there that aren't giving their people permission to feel okay about things that would usually be uncomfortable to ask or have a conversation with their team about. And you did that from the outset, and then you've done a lot more beyond that. So I just want to say thank you for doing that and giving your people permission to communicate to the leadership.
And, you know, we've obviously used kind of some of the more formal mechanisms, employee sort of engagement survey and pulse surveys as well. But I think, you know, joining GIST myself, speaking from personal experience of having sort of children at home learning, you know, now having to kind of pick up in the middle of the day when the school hours have changed, you know, hospital appointments. You know, I truly understand as a sort of a colleague and employee how I value it, you know, because actually I'm not, given my kind of personal home situation, you know, it's one of the most valuable things to me that I know it's okay. But I think it's communication and support from the line managers. And
we're shattering all those silly, you know, things that weren't right, or norms or taboos. We're shattering them throughout this year, and hopefully we can push forward and actually keep remembering that people have lives inside and outside of work and responsibilities that come with that. So, you know, not alone, not just the well-being, but obviously work in the reward side of things. But how have you been getting recognition to people in a timely way throughout the past year? What work have you been focusing on?
Okay, so we have had a recognition sort of discounts platform. So we did introduce the Reward Gateway platform. So initially this was in the business just for sort of a discounts platform. But, you know, we'd listened to the people. One of the things that came across in our engagement survey that sort of people wanted, and managers wanted, tools for recognition. And there was sort of quarterly kind of ad hoc sort of PowerPoint led awards, but obviously what we listening to our people, we wanted something a little more instant, a little more ability, sort of financial and non-financial. So I worked with sort of Reward Gateway and how we could kind of build and expand sort of the platform that we've got. So we actually built sort of the recognition platform on there. Initially we introduced kind of non-financial, so we were obviously the one GIST culture I mentioned at the start of our chat.
Yeah.
We had sort of 6 guiding principles, so sort of to support the launch and alignment with the guiding principles, we sort of developed e-cards, so things like be original, always inclusive, never stand still. So to the business and via the platform, this enabled sort of public peer-to-peer recognition, managers, and the ability to send e-cards to groups, make this public. So we sort of made use, what we do for our customers, we've made use of sort of technology, instant, but also kind of branding it, rather than being sort of separate to the culture program, it was an integral part of engagement and culture.
Yeah.
So then sort of introduced Star of the Month, so alongside on the platform, so anybody in the business can nominate anybody for a Star of the Month award, obviously with a nomination. And then on a monthly basis, myself and sort of a rotating member of our executive team, we sort of host sort of an online Zoom awards. So we combine it with sort of a spotlight on session, so it makes sort of the content for the hour engaging. So we sort of read nominations or summary. We have the image of everybody nominated, so nobody knows who's going to get nominated until the awards event. So everybody who's been nominated, this is sort of shared, and colleagues who are on the call are able to sort of speak in the chat, write messages, as we go, so it becomes sort of live and interactive as well. So we started kind of with the non-financial, just sort of, I guess, warming up and not launching too much at once to kind of sort of build the campaign. So, we have at least half the organisation that would join regularly every single month for the call. We're having sort of almost 30 to 40 nominations some months for Star of the Month. And the winner's decided by an independent panel. So we engage the business. We have a representative from each of our directorates. So it's not HR led. We kind of own the strategy and the program, but it's, and again, one of the challenges I think is communicating to the business. It's a business tool, it's a manager led tool. It's not sort of it's not just a HR tool. Yeah. But we've also kind of built, once that was kind of embedded, shared nominations and sort of refreshing that, we've introduced sort of small value instant awards as well. So pots of money that each of the directorates can use. Sort of spot awards, £10, 25 and 50. So sort of small budgets to enable kind of leaders to be able to sort of reward in their own areas. But again, sort of the visible platforms enabled us to kind of monitor the usage, track sort of the logins. And I think that's been one of the really powerful things that's helped us, seeing going from what was a discount, in essence, a discount platform. We have sort of trebled the traffic. Wow. It's the go-to place now. So bringing sort of together the recognition, some of the rewards, and actually how we can almost build the platform. It's not necessarily, it's moved from a discount platform to a recognition, which is now an engagement, which is an engagement and reward platform.
And again, when we were talking before, there was always a disconnect where, as a consumer, you'd have this technology you'd have at home and on your phone, but the internal technology that you had as an employee usually was quite clunky. And you're saying you can't have that anymore. And the user experience you have on this platform is fantastic. And that's probably helped the take up. I think you were saying.
I mean, definitely. I mean, given a lot of the roles that we do, and we're sort of, developing technology for our customers and sort of worldly.
Well, exactly.
Having a lot of sort of user acceptance designers, testers, we've got a tough audience to please, and I think how we kind of had to make sure that we could utilize technology, making it visible, to support the culture and branding, but it's got to work. It's got to do things we need it to do. We need it to be, to be branded, to be easy, that we can get our analytics from it. So actually we can kind of, what's our return on investment? So
Easy
kind of
to use.
It's got to be easy access, easy to use. But I
Yeah.
think really we've got to make it kind of visual, engaging, and there is sort of linking it with the external brand, and our guiding principles is what we stand for. So it becomes an integral part of who we are in our culture, not a piece of software that sits on the side to send somebody an e-card. So it's I'll definitely say the huge uptake and kind of driven traffic to the site to make better use of the platform. But during the year we've reviewed some of our voluntary benefits as well, so we've been able to get those on the platform as well. So actually it's becoming much more of a hub for things like well-being, our recognition, where we can get discounts, and actually we've got kind of links to our coronavirus briefings, our well-being as well. So it's sort of becoming a broader engagement platform, but we're needing it to be quick and easy to use, that actually it's engaging.
It feels like the glue. It feels like the glue of a lot of things to sit together.
It's work in, it's work in progress. It's by no means a finished article. I think it's like to say, we've been on a journey, and actually not sort of business with everything at once, because obviously there's other business initiatives, there's wider HR initiatives, but again it's sort of joining them together. But it's the feedback that we've had, and I think one of the key things sort of with the program, with the platform, it's the sort of refreshing of it, the reminding, and I think working closely with our communications team and having our monthly awards really helps keep it alive.
Yeah, definitely.
Sort of, things like adding now to our sort of monthly HR statistics, to our monthly report about some of the statistics on the logins. It's enabling us today to analyze the data that we use. So it's kind of partnership with the provider, how we can build and enhance it going forward now.
Well, it sounds fantastic. What is going forward looking like for the next 12 months? Is there anything different you're going to be bringing into the reward program?
Absolutely, yes. I think we've done quite a lot on embedding some of the new voluntary benefits. I think there's definitely a piece around understanding total reward, understanding the value of benefits that we have, sort of maximising the usage from that, and how we can expand expand the recognition side of things, how we can kind of review that. Longer term, we're looking at because whilst we offer sort of a flex through kind of voluntary benefits, how with sort of our wider reward strategy and our kind of harmonisation project, how we can introduce sort of more flexibility, more benefits into that, obviously being mindful of our sort of social enterprise, so it's a balance, being able to sort of, making sure we're our EVP, that we're spending our money in the most cost effective way. So, and one of the things that we're thinking about doing is, while we're obviously looking at focusing on sort of attracting and retaining kind of early careers as well, but again, it's around flexibility and choice at sort of every demographic. We have choice in our home, in our home life on things, and I think it's making sure, so it's sort of embedding a lot of what we're doing, building upon it, and also the sort of the unknown as to what happens coming out of the pandemic. So we are.
That leads me to my next question, and probably our last question. We've got a couple of questions from the audience that we'll get to at the end, so thank you for those. You're talking about flexibility and focusing on new ways of working. So there's been chats about the war on talent. Is this something you're experiencing and seeing in the marketplace?
Yes, absolutely. So I think we're definitely not unique, and I think even starting to come out of the pandemic now, we're sort of seeing. You're seeing a bit more movement in the market. I think some of the things for us, kind of key sort of technical skills, key sort of technical roles, kind of hot skills in the marketplace, certainly for us. And also, I think, just mentioned before, a real focus on attraction and retention, early careers and developing talent. So, a real focus on apprenticeships, kind of graduate schemes, how we can kind of build sort of the skill early careers. There are, I think, supply issues in certain areas and functions, but sort of some of the things that we're doing, we've obviously already had in place the kind of agile working, flexible working, sort of willingness, but actually we're sort of moving more to a more formalised hybrid working locations, and sort of utilising technology more which, where for the majority of our staff, there'll be no requirement to be in an office, but they can be in an office. So again, it's keeping this element of choice where it's appropriate, and that will be the majority of the staff. So this sort of will enable us sort of, to look at kind of a wider talent pool, support specific sort of strategic recruitment initiatives. So, and I think, it's the agility of work and our approach to well-being, again, being the fact that we mindful of not-for-profit, the answer isn't always pay. If you aren't offering new ways to work, and flex it in some of those areas, you're disadvantaging yourselves. That's not saying that pay isn't important, because it is. But I think increasingly probably what we're seeing is, people are sort of considering the wider things, not just the pay piece when looking at sort of roles and moves.
Well, I don't envy you and your peers and colleagues that have to create these policies, because we're still learning, and whatever decisions people come to, some people are just going to be very unhappy with that, because that's not what they want to hear from the organisation, because things have changed so much for so many different people in so many different ways over the past 12 months. And I saw something on LinkedIn from one of our advisors yesterday, called Jason Lawrenson, who's spoke at the summer series before, and he was talking about advice he learned 20 years ago at band camp in the USA from a musician, and it was never say what you're never going to do. So, and his examples were, I said I was never going to get married, and I was never going to have kids, and I was never going to. So I think it's quite good advice with people now who have to try and formalize things. Maybe don't say what you're not going to do, because we just don't know what's going to happen over the next few months, 6 months, and how people are going to keep changing their opinions and minds about being at home or not being at home. Or it's a very fluid situation, and I don't envy people like yourself who have to come up with solutions constantly. So I applaud you.
We don't necessarily get it right all the time. So we can't meet everybody. But what we know in kind of our kind of strategy, it's, we focus on you, we focus on well-being, we value our people, we value the work we do, and actually putting our members and customers first. So we're still learning. There's things we want to do, there's things we want to do differently. We have systems and process, so it's by all means not without its challenges, but I think, joining a business, being sort of part of it in the pandemic has shown that actually, I believe that we're really focusing on kind of the well-being of our people has helped us, deliver for our customers where we're at so far.
What a great way to end the formal part of the conversation. So thank you so much for sharing what you've been doing. It's remarkable what you've been able to do as an organisation over the past 12 months. And one quick question for me before we'll take a couple from the floor. And Stefan, behind the scenes, I'll let you know which ones. Just out of interest, are you going to follow any of the government guidelines in the sense that they're saying we can open up again in the UK on the 19th, or are you just charting your own course as an organisation? And you don't have to answer that if you don't want to.
No, and I mean we've been very much clear and open what the guidelines are saying, and therefore what we will do in JISC. So when it's been safe and appropriate to offer open, the offices have been open with sort of the very restricted guidelines. Actually changed some of the spaces in the office, the sort of collaborative working for team spaces. We've also had a big sort of push, ensuring our kind of diversity inclusion. So it's been an opportunity to sort of create quiet spaces, safe spaces as well. But there is, at no point has there been a requirement for anybody to be in the office, but also if people when we were allowed to do so, if people felt they needed to because of home situation or job requirement or kit, for example, they would be able to. But we've had very much, part of the communications has been what our kind of office rules are, and again, when there was sort of the various tiers, trying to sort of work your way around, you know, what part of the country could open. So we've been open and transparent, so in referring to government guidelines, but we've taken a view from, again, the health and safety and well-being of our staff. So, and again, there is no rush for you know, on the 19th of July, with kind of the view to hybrid working. We're not opening the door. We're welcoming people, but
not making them come back.
we're not making them come back. And I think that you know, had some kind of challenges, but again, it becomes around, you know, employee choice. But actually, there are offices if people do want to go, because we appreciate everybody's home situation is different, you know, but also recognising that there is some benefits of teams getting together from a social aspect, sharing, and how we can facilitate those as well. So it's, you know, it's very much using the spaces, using the offices, using technology for people to get the best, you know, in teams, how it works for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we're not 900 by any means, but we've been having that conversation as an organisation as well, and we're just totally charting our own path and ignoring we're not ignoring what the state of the pandemic is, because we're not being hurried by if we get the green light tomorrow, we'll still take our time and work out what we want to do. So it sounds like that's what you're doing too. A couple of questions. Should we do the last one Kevin sent in, Stefan? Been up on the screen. With the option of working from home, do you see the workforce being developed with people with mobility limitations, young parents, family, informal carers, semi-retired? So do you see there's a pool of talent that might not have been there in the past, or you've gone after, had access to, because we have more options now?
Absolutely. And I think part of sort of the wider recruitment sort of strategy, how and where we attract, you know, and where we sort of advertise, for example. We've also got a big internal kind of, you know, supporting our kind of diversity and inclusion strategy with groups as well. So again, we're sort of taking insight. We are, you know, actively encouraged to kind of join sort of bodies, things like women in tech, STEM, how we kind of interact with, you know, colleges and schools, and also certainly from sort of the students, the Prospects Careers Advisory Service that probably some of you may have heard are also now part of JISC.
Yeah.
So how do we utilise reaching out to kind of that population as well? But also I think certainly from a kind of a young parents, you know, actually how we advertise our roles. So, you know, actually the wording that we use is, you know, sometimes if you don't meet all of the criteria, come talk to us. So, you know, rather than just what, you know, it's how we sort of present ourselves in sort of the, you know, the job market, how we advertise our roles, you know, some of which we've almost done sort of through Facebook, through Ninja, you know, so it's part of, you know, as well as I suppose the reward and engagement, that piece of sort of a talent and recruitment attraction strategy. So
just need to make sure everybody's got the proper infrastructure and broadband and equal opportunity in that sense, and then everybody can have access to that technology, so we can have those roles, I think. Great question, Kevin. A really good question. We'll have one more around third-party wellbeing packages. And if you're able to answer this one, Rachel, I'm not sure if that. So, are third-party wellbeing packages services coping with the increased demand? So, I suppose the platform you're using it in a lot more different ways. Is it coping with it?
So from a technology perspective, yes. I mean, during the year, I sort of with the team have sort of reviewed our occupational health, our EAP services, our things like Bike to Work, we have Thrive mental health app as well, a mental health first aiders. So as part of kind of reviewing some of the voluntary benefits, kind of that's, you know, account management, working with partners, you know, to ensure that they're the right people that we want to partner with JISC. So there's obviously the operations team would have regular sort of account service meetings with our wellbeing providers, you know, and in terms of monthly MI. So as far as we've concerned, the services that we've you know, provided, we haven't seen any problems. I would certainly see, again, we don't get details, we've definitely seen sort of the EAP services being kind of used more regularly, occupation, you know, access to sort of the wellbeing services. So, and part of it is about us promoting that. So our mental health first aiders will, so they are trained first aiders, but they will signpost, they will provide sort of support and resources and kind of direct people as well. So, you know, we like to work our sort of benefits provide, you know, who, you know, understand us, the same value, you know, same values as us as well. And it's working in the partnership for what we're trying to do rather than just purely, you know, be a benefit or a service. So
awesome. Thank you so much for questions, Kevin. Great questions, and something I'm going to think about a lot more this evening, actually, and might try and have a talk on at some stage in the future, I think. So thank you very much. I'm going to try and connect with you on LinkedIn. So Rachel, anything else to add? You've made us all learn a load more than we knew at the beginning of the talk. And like always, when I've taken a lot in, I start stuttering because my brain's in overload. So I've just so much to digest this evening, and I'm just congratulations on all the work you've done. I hope you can get to meet your colleagues in person at some stage soon and not work at the kitchen table, although that's obviously okay to do now.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. And as I say, you know, I kind of want to learn what others are doing, you know, others are doing as well. And I think part of the sort of reward and benefits role is, you know, understanding, bringing best practice. So if anybody did want to kind of know any more, want to sort of connect, share their thoughts and ideas, please do connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm really happy to kind of share any more on the work that we've done. But I think it's important to say, you know, whilst I'm presenting, it's not just me, you know, there's the wider HR team, you know, key with our communications colleagues, you know, and the support of our executive team and, you know, our facilities as well with sort of getting the offices. So it's kind of a team effort. It's, you know, whilst I'm presenting on behalf of JISC, it's a wider team effort than me. So where we've got to.
Well, you're awesome for saying that, and thank you so much for coming along today and sharing. And as Rachel says, Inspiring Workplaces is actually a community for people to share and network and share experiences and insights and help one another. So please do reach out to her if you've got any questions, and reach out to us as well. This talk will be on demand if you're not watching on demand already. But for now, Rachel, have a great rest of the week, and thank you so much.
Lovely. Thank you so much. You too.
Take care. And thank you. Thank you to the team behind the scenes, Stefan and Amy and Ruth and myself now and again, for just being amazing for 27 sessions. It actually does take a lot out of everybody doing this every single day, but it's an honor and a privilege to be able to do this and bring amazing speakers like Rachel here every single day and then make it available on demand. Also want to say thanks to Reward Gateway, our partner for this specific session, and thank you to them both on both sides of the Atlantic, Lauren and Rachel and Brian and others. But no, thanks very much for watching, and we'll be back again tomorrow. Ruth is hosting, and we've got 2 fantastic case studies coming up. Take care. Bye-bye.